For the scene series, I've painted a lot of movie scenes, some successful, some less so, but can I paint a movie scene using only acrylic markers? Let's find out. Every single movie scene we've painted so far has been using watercolor with a little bit of color pencils and a little bit of gouache. But this is the first time we're using a completely different medium, and I've got some new acrylic markers to try too. These ones are a little bit smaller, but first we need to find some tape. I have a lot of washi tape, as you can see, but you can never have enough. I still struggle to find what I'm looking for. I think this lilac is pretty cute though. And then disaster struck. I guess I don't have enough washi tape. I guess we need to get more. I'm gonna save what's left, pop it in the daily doodle diary, and reach for another color. Let's just try to ignore that. The movie we are painting is Lilo and Stitch, and this is the scene. So I'm thinking we want to start with a nice background first, and even though it looks a little bit blurry in the movie, that's not what we're going for today. I've been loving using acrylic markers lately, and I've been using them in a very different style. Basically, I paint in blocks. You'll find out what that means very soon. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. And if this isn't your first time on the channel, you might have seen me paint a marker stand in a similar style. This is closest to that, and I'm just gonna pop the actual picture on the screen now so that you can see it a little bit clearer. This is the scene where Stitch is dressed up as Elvis. But I have a bit of a revelation. I've never watched Lilo and Stitch. I have now, but I never watched it as a child. I don't really know why. I guess I wasn't really a Disney child. I then got into it a little bit later on when a lot of the Disney Pixar movies came out. I liked Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., but I didn't really get into them until quite a bit later. So I don't know why I never watched this one. To be honest, there's probably quite a few Disney movies I haven't seen. I just obsess over very specific ones. So, my thoughts on the movie, watching it for the very first time in 2025. I liked it. I think I would have liked it even more as a child, and it makes me sad that I didn't watch it. Like, it's good. And it still stands up to the newer Disney movies even today. Didn't realize there'd be aliens. I don't know why. I don't know what I thought Stitch was. I guess I thought Stitch was just like an animal. So the alien part was a little bit surprising, but no, it was really great. I have seen the trailer for the live action one that's coming out soon, and that's not how I pictured Stitch either. Even watching the film, I didn't really think Stitch had that much fur. It's a little bit creepy, but the casting actually looks amazing for the live action version, so I think it's gonna be good. Like, out of all of the live action Disney movies, this one looks most similar to the original, and I think this one will probably end up being one of the best. Saying that, I did like Cinderella. Cinderella's actually pretty good. The rest of them I have found a little bit meh. Haven't seen them all, but the trailer actually looks really promising for this one. So that's the movie that we're painting. This is the scene. It's not in the trailer for the live action, but I presume it's also going to be in that movie. So it'll be interesting to compare actually. And the style. So basically I kind of pick a color, add a load of blocks, and then move on to a different color. Sometimes if the blocks are a little bit too close, I will leave that gap and come back to it a bit later, as you can see by the big white gaps in the sea and also the clouds. But this is paint. I often forget that acrylic markers are paint and never let them completely dry, but they are paint. They will smudge. It's not like watercolor that they'll bleed and go everywhere, but you know, it will pick up the paint. And we don't want that for this style. I don't exactly know what this style is, but as you can see, we're adding blocks for the sea and the sand and the clouds, and they do gradually have a little bit of shading. The sea is darker at the horizon and then lighter towards the sand, and the sand, I guess, has a little bit of a gradient. For the clouds, I'm painting white on white. That was a waste of time, and I decided to just add any color at this point. If it was grey, it would look boring, and the clouds aren't really grey, not in this movie. You know what though, it's actually quite funny that I'm reaching for the acrylic markers to paint this movie, because a lot of the backgrounds are watercolor, and this is the first one that I'm not using watercolor for. Maybe that was a little bit silly. The movie visually is actually stunning though. though, because it's like only the objects in the front are actually animated, like the characters and some buildings, the rest of the backgrounds do look like a painting. I didn't know that going into it. That was a really lovely surprise. Visually, it looks gorgeous, okay? I could have painted more scenes from this movie. But one thing that I do have to bear in mind in this sketchbook is it's B5. It's not a bad size, but with the tape border, it's not very big. It's between A5 and A4, so sometimes it can be difficult to get all of those details down. Recently, I've been extending my scenes a little bit, doing them a little bit further away, and I don't think that's helped. So I think in the next movie scene, we're gonna get closer. Well, I know we are. I've already painted the next one, and I am so happy with that. I cannot wait to show you. Honestly, this one was my new favorite. I'm gonna say it now. I absolutely love how this one has turned out, and I can't wait for you to see the final result. Until I painted the next movie scene after this, and then I fell in love with that one. We're doing it. We're getting back in the swing of things. It's been a bit rocky recently, but this one is fun. I'm just reaching for a nice blue shade now. These are acrylic markers, so you're gonna have to use your imagination a little bit. The blue is not gonna be the exact same shade as Stitch, in the same way that the mint green around the eyes definitely is not mint green in the actual film, and the inside of the ear is not purple. I don't mind personally. If I wanted to make the perfect shade, I would have to get a load of paint tubes out, mix them all perfectly, use water and paintbrushes, possibly run out of the colour I'm using. It would be a whole faff. And I like being able to just grab markers. This is how I like to create art. And I think it's important to adapt and create art how you want to create art. So yes, I also could have maybe mixed some of the markers together on a separate palette and created the shade and painted it on. But to me, that's just not fun. That's extra steps that I don't need. I don't mind Stitch's eyes being a little bit mint green. I guess we haven't added the eyes yet. This is just the lighter colour that's kind of wrong. The other awkward part is this outfit. Okay, because if you look at the original photo, the outfit is white, and obviously I can't just have the entire thing be white. But since there's only 2 grey shades, we're just gonna have to make do with these 2 grey shades. As I said, everyone is different. I personally don't mind. If the colours are not perfect, that really doesn't bother me. I'm not a perfectionist. I like to enjoy the process. I like to make things efficient and fun. And I would much rather create in this way and have the colours be a little bit off than try to mix the perfect colours that then dry up on me and creating a whole mess, having to rush with acrylics to use up the mixture. That's my biggest fear with acrylics. That's why I love these markers so much. Like, turning acrylics into acrylic paint markers, that was a genius move. That completely changed the game for me. I never would have used acrylics otherwise. Like, they're great. And I'm a watercolor gal, so I didn't see that one coming. Unfortunately though, this white is not opaque. Originally I was planning to go over it lots to try and make it opaque, but honestly I don't mind. It kind of blends in with the clouds a little bit. I really don't mind it. It's very transparent though. To this day, I still haven't found a good white acrylic paint marker. If you happen to have found one, make sure you let us know in the comments, because I have not found one that's actually opaque. Which is kind of odd because some of these pastel yellows are pretty opaque, but the whites, they just never seem to get right. And I've got to say, moving on to Stitch after doing the background was kind of scary, but at the same time, I like that I didn't have to trust the process too much for this one. Like, I added the sky, the sea, the sand, and already it was starting to look good. I mean, it looks cool. It looks odd. I don't know what the style is, but I love it. And I would love to use acrylic markers in this sketchbook again. For the scene series, we've painted Wonka, the Titanic, Pretty Woman, 101 Dalmatians, E.T., Tangled. Oh, that is quite a few Disney movies, actually. And in the next episode, we're painting Romeo and Juliet, which I'd also never seen, believe it or not. But what movie would you like to see me paint? Let me know down below in the comments, and maybe we'll paint yours. So finally, I think it's time to add some more details in. Stitch exists, but we need to do the hand. claws, all the details on the guitar, because it's these little details that will really make the character pop. And I did struggle a little bit with this because I knew that the background was going to be created in blocks, like you can see, and I didn't know how I was planning to paint Stitch. I tried to add some of the blocks to the clothes with a little bit of shadow, a little bit of highlights, and honestly, I don't have a technique for this. With the blocks, really they are added like highlights, mid-tone, shadows. I kind of treat it like makeup. I kind of treat it like contour, which sounds really odd to say when I'm painting a scene from Lilo and Stitch, but it's true. Grab the highlights, grab the midtones, grab the shadows, but keep them all separate. But now I'm trying something crazy. I want to add color pencils and see if this will work. This has been my go-to with watercolor, just to bring back some of that line work, add a little bit more texture, add a little bit of dimension, and this doesn't last very long. I tried my best and very quickly gave up. It looks awful. I guess maybe color pencils just don't look great on acrylics. There was just something about it. Maybe it was also like the texture on the acrylics, because the acrylics look so smooth, especially because there's no blending. The color pencils look really weird. So instead I'm reaching for the darkest color, black, and adding black line work. But I didn't want this to be a bold outline, so I'm just adding a little bit here and there. Just a little bit more highlight, a little bit more shadow. I do think it was needed though. And something else that's needed are these stars. I didn't really notice them until I properly zoomed in on the picture, but it's true, it's kind of glistening. I'm not sure it looks like the way that I've painted it on, but they are there. If you look, they are there. And seeing as this outfit now looks grey, we need to add some white highlights back in. The outfit is so much darker than it was supposed to be. Technically, it was supposed to be white. And we also need to bring in some of those lighter highlights onto Stitch. The chunky block art style is in the background, but it's not really on Stitch very much. It's not on the guitar. Just added it to the outfit, but we definitely need more. We need it to be a similar art style because otherwise it's going to completely stand out. But honestly, even when I was looking at it in this moment, I didn't really know what to add because I like it. I really like it and I really want to make some more like this. It's been a bit rocky the last few episodes, but I think we've got there. I was nervous going into this scene because the last few haven't gone to plan, but I'm so happy with how this one's turned out and I hope you've enjoyed watching this process. I know it is quite a repetitive style to be watching, but still it took a lot of different layers and a lot of planning to get to this point, and it's kind of cute. All that's left is to heat up the tape and peel it off for that lovely white border, and then I can show you all the details up close for what is definitely one of my favorite paintings in this sketchbook now. I think acrylic markers have very quickly become one of my favorite mediums, and it's mostly because of this style. I absolutely love it. It's fun, it's different, it's the complete opposite of watercolor, and here it is. This is little Stitch in my art style. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot. Give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.